Hello, and welcome to A Court of Drams, where your favorite fictional stories come to life in the glass. I am Megan, and today we are in Perithian, a land created by Sarah J. Maas, featured in A Court of Thorns and Roses, and we are making a cocktail inspired by the Suriel. The main reasons why people like the Suriel is that he's really good at spilling some very hot tea. And so we have to go with some tea today. And to make it wash down a little bit easier, we got some bourbon. But you know, the tea that he ends up spilling to everyone is very life-altering for Feyre. So we have to make it a little spicy, right? So I have a couple of options for this. You can have a chili Ancho Liqueur, crushed red pepper, or hot honey. And then, of course, you have to have some lemon. I've made this cocktail a few times, and so the chili Ancho Liqueur is really good, but I want to try it a different way because not everyone has this liqueur on them. I'm going to end up making a tea using a black tropical tea. I don't know how this is going to taste, but you know, have fun with it. This is a cocktail. And then I'm going to put in some crushed red pepper in there whenever it steeps. So we'll see how this goes. All right, so you gotta prep your tea bag. Now the tea that you choose for a cocktail like this, I would recommend something darker, like a black tea or something that would be fuller flavor. You're not gonna get, I mean, you can always use a green tea or a white tea or something, but it's not going to really stand out in flavor. So choose your own adventure. There, a little bit of red crushed pepper. If you have, I mean, most people have this on hand, but if you don't have this and you have a whole chili pepper, throw it in there. And I'm gonna be somewhat careful with how much I put in here. We'll go with that. I don't know if I'll regret this or not. All right. I'm gonna give you another alternative that you can do this if you don't want to have alcohol in it. There's actually teas out there that have very similar flavors to bourbon. This one's actually called Bourbon Brew from Old Barrel from Albuquerque. And it's really good. It has flavors of butterscotch, oak, and vanilla. So if you can find a tea that's similar to that, add this to your black tea, and then you're going to get that similar flavor that you would get with bourbon. Okay, water is ready. We're going to pour the water for it to steep. You don't want to fill it too full because you want to have room for bourbon. All right, and according to my tea, it takes 3 to 5 minutes. So we'll let that steep for a little bit. So while this steeps, a little bit of a no spoiler description of the Suriel. The Suriel is a very old species of fae that whenever you catch them, they're supposed to answer all your questions truthfully. They look extremely wicked, but as you've probably seen in this fandom, it's a very beloved character. So a lot happens, and if you haven't read the books, I'm really excited for you to enjoy them. We'll let this steep, and we'll come back. All right, we are back. The tea has steeped, so we can start adding everything else that we need. So while it's still hot, I would recommend putting some honey in it. So depending on how you're going to make this cocktail, if you put in the red pepper or something, you don't have to do this. You can use hot honey if you want, or just regular honey. I'm just going to use regular honey. and you can decide how much you want. This is very similar to a hot toddy, and a hot toddy I think is a cocktail that really, you know, it's not one that you really measure out. So just kind of like do what your heart tells you to do. So I got the honey, and I'm going to stir that a little bit. All right. And then a little bit of bourbon. Also, this is one of the cocktails that I really don't measure for. For the bourbon, I usually maybe do an ounce and a half, but it really depends. So I'm just gonna go with that, maybe an ounce. All right, so I got the honey. I have the bourbon. Now, if you use the Ancho Chile Liqueur, I would put around half to an ounce. It depends on how strong you want it. I do think it's the flavors are more enhanced whenever you put more into it. So the last time I used it, it was around an ounce. You just might need a little bit more space in your glass. All right. And then lemon. The way I usually use the lemon is I'll actually cut off a little bit of the end here. Let's get rid of the seed. And square a little bit. And then I'll actually garnish with the lemon on top, because it will end up floating and it smells really nice. All right. All right, and now you have a spicy hot tea to sip with a Suriel. This might be a little too hot to try, but we'll see. Oh, that's so nice. It's like the perfect cocktail to sip on whenever you're reading on like a rainy day or something. I mean, a lot of people make hot toddies whenever you're sick, but I mean, this is perfect reading material. That tea actually really worked. There's a little bit of the spice in the background of the red chili flakes. You can definitely add more if you want more spice, or you can like double up on some of the spiciness. So if you want the Ancho Chile Liqueur or some of the hot honey, absolutely, it's not going to be too spicy. And with that, you have the perfect tea to sip with a Suriel. So until next time, keep reading and enjoy. That's good.